Welcome back, people. It is episode 4, season 4 of the Taxi Squad podcast. It is currently January 23rd. You'll be listening to this on Thursday, January 25th. We have a fair amount to get into today. We have a strange and unusual. Is women's basketball a flop game? Is John Daly a woman? Also, is Bronny James overrated? We also have golf talk, the NBA, and of course, NFL. It's the Taxi Squad podcast.
Come on, everybody, celebrate. The Taxi Squad is here today. So lose the blues, kick back and relax for now. They talk about sports and stupid stuff. They're probably wrong and it might get rough. So welcome back. It's the Taxi Squad, yeah.
Vinny, how are you?
I'm great, man. I went to go see Travis Scott last night at the United Center. That was pretty lit. Everybody left there still alive, which is big, and you know that's not a given at every Travis Scott show. So happy that happened.
This is true.
Tough. We're recording on Tuesday today because you're going to be in the air yet again because this man don't stop traveling. So if something happens tomorrow and we don't get to it. What's up, guys? Vince from the future here to tell you that something did happen. Jim Harbaugh is the coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. So our whole conversation about that, we were right. Like everybody else was. All right, back to the show. Bye.
Good, man. Oh, I'm
How are
happy
you?
Travis Scott was, I'm sure, of a banger of
Yeah,
a
it was
concert.
lit.
Oh, I'm great. You know, back on the road again, as Willie Nelson would say. Making my way to good old Florida.
Hell yeah.
As his name was, you know. So I thought on this home game I'd go extra bro-ish with a backwards snapback because why not,
You
right?
look like you took
Why
about
not?
5
Every now-
years back. You look like you're a
Yeah?
26-year-old, 25-year-old right now. You're a
Yeah,
young man.
with a very salt and pepper finish. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, no, I'm feeling it today. We got a
No
fair amount to
crapo,
get
you're
into.
looking steezy, bro. No cap.
Look at Steve's, bro. No cap, you know. I just go chill in the quad later. You never.
It's lit,
no.
dude. Play hacky sack.
It's lit, man. I mean, you guys are cat, man. Anyways,
Sickening.
it's horrible. But then speaking of college,
Yes.
we have a smidge of a strange topic that we don't usually get into. Female college basketball.
People call it women's college basketball usually, but yes.
Whatever.
So Caitlin Clark. People know who Caitlin Clark is. She was on the Iowa team that went to the championship last year and lost to LSU in upsetting fashion. She's been just putting points in at an unbelievable margin. Probably the best player in women's college basketball right now. Iowa lost to Ohio State. Ohio State hasn't had a lot to celebrate the last couple weeks here, so they decided to celebrate it in style, beating Iowa, and they stormed the court. Caitlin Clark was running off the court. Another gal was running onto the court. A little collision action. And then one of the most egregious flops I've ever seen in my life. You think that flopping ends after the game ends, but I guess some things don't happen. I've had this take for the last couple days since this came out. I've had mixed reviews from multiple sides. Like, she didn't flop. But if you watch the video, it's like they hit her, and then she, like, goes and, like, moves, and then she goes down, and then she's like, oh, like, flailing after that. It's like, what is the ref going to call a foul after the game ended?
Yeah. Yeah, if the game's over, why you falling on your face? You know, it's like it's very LeBron James to me.
Yeah.
It's very LeBron. Is she like the female LeBron, you know? I mean, she's great. I mean, she
good,
takes shots from way beyond the key. I mean, I give her that much. I mean, she's got some range. I give her that, and she's arguably probably one of the best in the women's college basketball arena right now. Will probably be the first pick in the WNBA.
Oh yeah.
I just believe that. I don't know. Maybe she was trying to play the sympathy card. I don't know.
Probably,
because chances are they were probably heavily favored to win this.
They were, and it was an upsetting loss, and it probably was a mixture of emotions too, I'm sure. The discourse that always happens when shit like this happens, especially when it happens in college football, we see that a lot, storming the field, or college basketball when a big upset happens in March Madness and things of that nature. We see it, and then people are like, we need to stop storming courts, or we need to stop storming fields. And I've always been on the side of never stop doing that. That shit is so fucking lit. Every time someone does it, it's so sick. And, like, obviously stories like this come out, but if you flop on it and it makes it seem like the sport's biggest star is getting hurt, that will start the discourse up again. So I'm just here to say that was definitely a flop. And if anybody disagrees with me, watch the tape back and try to tell me that it wasn't, because I feel like it was. But if I catch some storm, if I catch some heat from this, that is fine. That is my true belief. I swear that was an easy flop. Definitely was. Definitely was.
Yeah, from the looks of the video, definitely a pretty simple flop.
Like, when you get punched in the face,
to
you
your
don't
point,
go.
don't know what she was looking for.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you get punched in the face, you don't go, huh? Ah! Like, you get punched in the face and you're like, ow! Right, like, right away. So that was the weird thing. It was like, it was a collision. It probably did hurt. I would say that. Like, it was a pretty hard collision. But, like, the theatrics were too much for me, man. Too much. It looked like a soccer game, honestly.
Well, it is basketball, Vince. I mean, in its truest form, it is basketball. So, with all that being said, I mean, you can't really state anything else that they flop in basketball, but usually it's on the court.
Yeah. Yeah, usually it's during the game, because it was on the court, but usually it's during the game, and now it's like, I don't know, man. Honestly, there's not that much left of the story. She's not seriously injured. That's about it, so... But it's just fucking annoying to me. I find it so annoying. Seeing it like that, like my first reaction was that was a flop. It hasn't changed since.
Yeah, I agree. Well, not much more to the story. This is how you know you're reaching for some strange and unusual topics.
No, it was strange. It was very strange. I'm like, what are you doing? It's just not like, it's cut and dry. It's cut and dry.
It makes more sense if it happens in the game. And I mean, let's face it. I mean, no, I'm not even going to go there. But anyways... I mean, once again, it's not a home game, clearly. So I don't know. Maybe she's trying to get some favorable treatment from the NCAA.
Could be.
That could probably be the only place my brain goes. But then again, if you're leaving after this year, which she is a senior, so it's like, what's the value in that? I don't know. Maybe she does want to get the storming of the courts banned. But once again, in women's basketball, how often do people storm the court?
Only when shit like this happens, and it's lit.
You know what I never understood? Here's something.
Okay.
And I don't know. Call me whatever you want to call me. But all right. So the males, right, in men's basketball, they get female cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Why not in women's basketball? Why don't they have male cheerleaders?
Most cheer groups have both, for what it's worth. But I agree. If you can get some beefcakes out there, launching guys up in the air, just ripped as fuck, because all of them are so ripped. They're like gymnastics, essentially. Get those guys out there. They'll be doing cool ass shit. I want to see that right now.
Right. This was my whole thing. I brought this up to my wife, who played high school basketball and could have played college, chose not to. And I said that. I was like, what? Like, did the girls cheers for you guys? She's like, not in high school. I'm like, okay. It just never made sense, you know?
Yeah. Get some fucking fellas out there. Go get out there, dudes.
It would be great to me if, like, the offensive linemen for the football team at Iowa were the cheerleaders in the offseason for the female basketball team.
Just a bunch of corn-fed lads ready to get drafted in the NFL.
Put them all in something, you know.
Spandex suits.
Some sort of singlet, spandex, looking like wrestlers out there, but they're cheering.
Yeah.
And then give me an O, give me an I, right? I think, right? I think it'd be great.
I think they should do it. I think we should start a petition for that, to make that happen. Like, you can't come to play for any college football team without agreeing to cheer for the women's basketball team in the offseason. I think that's like a good trade-off.
Right. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And you know what? Another thing that kind of makes me wonder why. Never mind. We'll get to it on a different topic.
I was gonna say you're just tucking away opinions all day today.
Well, no, I'm just curious. Like, why wouldn't that be? Now, speaking of the whole male and female,
Yeah.
and where they fit,
We're
in
getting
certain
dicey on the
sports.
Taxi Squad podcast today, guys.
Oh yeah. So John Daly, legendary alcoholic in the professional golfing arena,
Yeah, he hammers
also-
drives with the cig in his mouth. It's the coolest thing in the world.
hammers golf balls for a living.
Yep.
Also, I think he's won a major in some capacity.
He did
at
one
some point.
time, and I don't know which one it is, and that doesn't matter, honestly, because his persona's enough.
His
He's also-
persona's enough. Daly,
He's very good at golf. John Daly's very good at golf.
Very.
He's become a caricature in a
Very
lot
good.
of ways, but he's very good at golf.
very good at golf. Very good at smashing cigs, beers, and Diet Cokes. Claims
Yeah.
he doesn't drink water. And clearly he's not drinking the Kool-Aid. So right
Have you
now,
seen his skin, bro? There's no
I mean-
way he drinks water. No way. That guy looks so fucking weathered at this point.
Yeah.
Not a drip of
Yeah,
water
it
in
looks
that
like
body.
he looks like an old leather sheet.
He
Or
does.
seat, should I say.
Yeah.
He looks like an old piece of leather. Lives in Florida, big golfer, right?
Oh,
but
dude,
recently,
he won the PGA and he won the Open, so he has two of them in the mid-90s, beginning in the mid-90s.
So, to
Very
the
good.
point, two majors. He's recently in the news for comments he made about a trans LPGA tour golfer who just won the latest tournament. A lady by the name of Hallie Davidson, claiming that if he was feminine and chose to be on the tour as a female, he said, I would have won 100 tournaments if I threw on a skirt and called myself a, quote, tranny. That dude was as feminine as a Ford F-150. And I think this is a wonderful comment.
Dude.
Not in a sense of what he's meaning by it, but just the frank honesty here is fantastic.
It is true. He would absolutely wipe the floor a lot. There's no doubts about that. Just ball distance by itself, that's how it goes. What's tough, yeah, and this is the thing, and we've had a conversation about this already. This is tough because it's like you want everybody to be able to play, but there is an obvious and real differentiation just physically between like an LPGA player and a PGA player. If you start putting people that are, more masculine, still have a masculine build to them into there, regardless of their gender, whatever it may be, that's an easy win. Dude, if you're hitting the ball like that, if you have that much testosterone in your body, and I know that there is like a testosterone test that they do, but it's just to have like that body mass and just to start launching balls like that, you're like, well, how is this fair? How is it fair, man?
It's not.
It isn't fair.
And to your point, it's basic genetics as to
Yeah.
why males should, regardless of what you identify as, should not be allowed to compete in female sports.
Boys are strong,
don't
man.
agree with that.
Boys
We are strong. Our genetic
Yeah.
makeup is meant. There's a reason, we got chose to go fight in World War II before the women, right? And I know some people might say, oh, gender roles this, but truly, I mean, fuck, you put LeBron James in a wig and a sports bra, that motherfucker would average 1,000 points a night in the WNBA.
Yeah, right. And like even so, like, and the thing is too is he's the best player in the world for the last 15 years or whatever.
You put Kobe White in a sports bra,
Right.
and
That's my point.
lipstick in the WNBA, he's going to
That's my
average
point. You can put
100 points a
You
game.
could put a bench player on there, and it's just like verticals, like just physical
Everything.
body
Strength.
Yeah, it's just.
Uh,
This is going to be a conversation that we probably have for the rest of time, if I'm being honest. Like, this isn't going to go away. We're going to run into this issue a lot. And the more and more, when we ran into it with the swimmer issue, I know there's a lot of rules around the Olympics about this.
Yes.
allowing it and not allowing it
should
and whatever it may be, because you have to. It's just like it's great. To me, it's not fair for the people that are playing on the tour that did everything correctly, and then it's just like, hey, you're gonna have to go against this like genetic freak in that regard. It's insane.
If you're a genetic freak in your sport and your gender, I completely give you every accolade.
Griner's a
imaginable to
monster.
go to.
Griner is a very
Right.
tall person. Griner's a monster. Right.
Brittany Griner is an absolute, freak of nature.
Savant,
if we're talking about her size, and she was also imprisoned and traded for someone by the name of the Executioner. So I think that was the fairest trade in WNBA
the God
history.
of War.
Yeah, right. And they were like, U.S., Russia. They're like, yeah, that's a fair trade. Go ahead.
Whatever.
Go ahead.
We like our athletes here.
Anyways, it's true. But or like LeBron James, also a genetic freak.
Yeah.
You look at people like, for example, let's look at baseball. Mike Trout, genetic freak. Nobody can hit a baseball like that. Shohei Ohtani, genetic freak.
Bro, and to that point, they did the whole Jenny Finch thing against baseball players, and it was like, oh, she could strike out anybody, and then baseball players were just yamming balls over it's just not. That's the thing. It's just you have to have some game. You have to have a level. Oh, right, and there's also like a level of like fairness is all I'm saying, because it's just not even that. It's not even that I dislike that Haley Davidson is playing golf. Like, that's not the issue. It's just anybody else on that tour is at an honest, obvious disadvantage, unless there's a way to actually correctly measure, but there isn't, and there's not going to be, and there's always going to be two sides to this for the rest of eternity. Like, this is not, I know, and the thing is like, this isn't an everyday issue, but these things sprout up, and it's like, you need it to be fair in some way, shape, or form. Like, you need to be able to have an equal playing field so people can run on there, and if they're that good at the sport, they should be able to play the fucking sport. And it's I don't know, man. It sucks.
We're on a slippery slope in the civilization as a whole right now, if you ask me. Because if you ask any real historian, when the collapse of civilizations did occur, the whole confines of gender thing were a real topic of discussion. So you never know.
Maybe the U.S. is going down, baby. Yeah, they do say that about ancient Greece. I'm interested to see how that goes about it. But hey, maybe
it's true.
Maybe World War III will come and we'll just start throwing hands again and hopefully not die.
Well,
and that is our take on trans athletes in the LPGA.
Albert Einstein once said, I don't know what World War II will be fought with, but I know, or he said, I don't know what World War III would be fought with, but I know what World War IV would be fought with sticks and stones.
Yeah.
So, fun things.
So, yeah, crazy. It's crazy, and there's no way to fix it, and it's just going to be like this forever, my friend.
True. So, Vince, this poses a question if we're talking about college athletes, which we started with. Bronny James.
Yeah.
Is he just a guy? Is he because he's getting a lot of coverage and a lot of people are talking about him.
Yeah.
And a lot of NBA players are going to see his games and stuff because who his dad is. Is he getting too much coverage of the fact that, don't get me wrong,
I feel bad for him. He's good. I feel bad for him.
Why? He's in his shadow.
What? It's in a shadow. Yeah, and right, exactly. And so everything he does is going to be super micro, looked at. And besides the media doing it, just people in general are like, Bronny James, he's not it. Bronny James, he is it. What he is, in my opinion, and again, he had a very tragic issue. Coming back from it, he's still not playing full minutes with USC right now. He's putting up stats that are very akin to his dad, very even across the board. He doesn't score that much, but he's an assist guy. He goes get rebounds, whatever it may be. And he's all over ESPN all the time. When's the last time you saw a USC basketball game on ESPN?
Usually you see a Pac-12 game maybe twice a year.
Yeah, once in a blue moon. It's every time I turn on ESPN, if it's obviously not about football, because football runs the world, because it should.
Yes.
But let's talk about college basketball. There's always a segment on USC, and it's like they're not a great basketball team this year. They're pretty good. We'll see how they end up doing in the tournament if they make it. But I don't think he should be getting this coverage, to be honest. And I think he will get overdrafted because I do think there is a benefit to getting him because you get a very old LeBron James. And then at the end of the day, you're like, is this going to make us good, or do we just waste a draft pick on it? Plus, his expectations at that point being maybe coming out as a freshman when he's really not ready to be in the NBA. And then it's going to be like, oh, we expect him to be a performer in the NBA, and I don't know if it's going to happen. Now, granted, he has all of the access to everything in the world to make him good, but does he have the makeup to actually do it? And there's always the argument, too, about athletes' sons. And we've seen it a lot of times. We've seen it with the Marcus Jordan things. We've seen it with even Scottie Pippen's kids who are, you know, he's in the NBA right now, but he's not Scottie Pippen. There's something to be said about coming out of the woodwork and not having somebody before you, you know, walking you along. Outside of Steph Curry, I guess, because his dad was in the NBA, and Pat Mahomes because his dad was in the NBA.
But his dad wasn't like
his dad wasn't
an
better
absolute
than him.
world burner in
Right.
the NBA, though. I mean,
He was just
Del Curry was a role player.
Yeah, long tenure,
Steph-
played for a long time. Steph's obviously like a
Yeah.
next level freak. But when you
Yeah.
the expectation for this kid is going to be too high this whole time, and then there's no way he's going to ever meet up with it. There's no way he's ever going to reach that level, and then at the end, people are going to be like, "Told you he wasn't a god." It's like he never was. And if he does get to that point, that's fucking cool.
God bless
that's
you.
very cool. But we can't expect that, and we also can't have ESPN annoys the hell out of me all the time. I still watch it all the time because it's ESPN. Like SportsCenter's on, popping on. But it annoys the hell out of me because it's like the storylines. Obviously, they're construing it, and the media does what the media does, and we're essentially an extension of that at this point. But I try to avoid all those clickbaity crazy shit because it's like
we try and give it to you real. We try and give it. That's why I wanted to talk about this because it's like. In the NCAA focus right now, college basketball, I mean, chances are USC's probably not even going to make the tournament.
Right. It is unfair to him. And granted, he was born into the family and he's had a great life so far and all that, and everything's been taken care of for him. But pursuing the same thing as your dad, and there's that famous quote of LeBron being like, "I wish I didn't name him LeBron James." And it's like, well, everybody's still going to know he's your son. And the same thing's going to happen to Bryce when he's coming up too, because Bryce is a monster. I think he's like 6'10" already. So you're gonna see.
Yeah,
it.
well, that's the thing of the younger brothers.
He's gonna be better than him, probably. But you never really know. And now Bronny James, maybe this will be good media training for in the future when he's gonna keep getting this shit. But he might come out after this year and just be like a complete whatever player in the NCAA and still be a first round draft pick because his dad's LeBron. That's unfair. The expectations are way too high on the kid.
Yeah. I don't disagree for a second. I think he's not a lottery pick whatsoever.
He will be, though, probably.
You think he will be?
He may be, dude. If that's like you get LeBron James in this deal, then that's pretty... Teams are going to bite regardless if he's 40 years old or not. Imagine a team middle of the road, or even a team like the Pistons who have 4 goddamn wins right now, which is crazy. If they're we'll get Bronny James, and then LeBron's like, all right, cool, I'll come play for the Pistons for 2 years. Can you imagine just the marketing dollars you get from that? It's insane. It's like Tampa Bay getting Tom Brady.
Side of it.
I know they want a Super Bowl, but it's the same idea.
I understand the business side of it. I guess my only thing is this: you should be evaluated based off of your play.
Right.
And not off of your name.
Dad. Right. And that's never going to happen because clicks get people paid, Mike, and people click on LeBron James Jr.
I understand that's how you get paid. I still do not believe he's going to be a lottery pick when it's all said and done. And I don't think he'll be one and done at USC because I just don't think he has that smoke. I think he needs another year.
Playing time. I think he does too.
Yeah. He has to play 2 years in order.
Should he?
I mean, depends on his value. It depends on how quickly he wants to get to the league. It's all going to be Daddy's decision. who doesn't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, by the way, or the national anthem.
All right. That's not the conversation right now.
That scumbag. That piece of shit doesn't
Some
stand
people
for
don't
our
want to, man.
country.
Hey, man, it's a free world. Do what you
whatever.
want. Do what you want. It's a free
I understand.
country.
I'm just saying that I do believe he's at a disadvantage right now, and I just don't think he's a lottery pick. I don't.
What I will
It's going to be
say,
interesting to see how the NBA draft unfolds.
I do think it should be LeBron's decision because who knows better than him? To be completely honest, like LeBron should be the one to tell him to go or not.
Is that the only draft pick ever that's like a for sure package deal?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, how else are you supposed to have that leverage? You have to be literally a top 3 player of all time to get that leverage.
True. Interesting. So to your point, I think that's the only way in hell because a team is knowing they're getting LeBron James when Bronny goes there too.
For his development and to make sure his heart's okay and obviously and everything, he should probably stay. But also, if you want to go and get that bag and, you know, be out of mom and dad's house, even though it's a massive luxury mansion, wouldn't be too bad. He's already getting NIL deals anyway, so he's already getting the cash flow.
Of course, not like he needed it anyways.
Right.
Moving on, speaking of LA, and this could be thrown into football talk, but why not make it college talk because he's still the head coach at Michigan.
Hey guys, me again. Just here to reiterate the fact that he is not the coach at Michigan anymore. So, yep. All right. See ya. Bye.
It is being reported that Jim Harbaugh is interviewing now a second time with the San Diego or LA Chargers.
Yeah.
And
he's going there,
initial discussion. It's a done deal.
Yeah. Easy. He's going there. Belichick's going to Atlanta.
Giving him the keys to the castle.
Yeah. All these things are happening. I think the more obviously you get into it, the more.
Although Vrabel interviewed with Atlanta.
If I was Atlanta, I would hire Vrabel.
Okay.
Right? Like you gotta.
Just depends on what your goals are. A lot of people, there's reports right now that Belichick really likes Baker and would try and recruit Baker to go to the Falcons.
Yeah, because the tough part is now it's like they're going to have to re-sign him. And Baker Mayfield took his team to the playoffs. I'm still not 100% in on him at all. Like it's, you know, he could flounder like he has in the past. But if Tampa doesn't offer him the bag, then Atlanta might offer him the bag. Like if we're being honest, if you look at that team's makeup, really all they need is a quarterback that's at least decent. And Desmond Ridder was very much not decent. And Jesus Christ, Taylor Heineke was also not very decent in the times that he actually went and played there. So it might behoove them to spend a little money on him while they have Pitts and while they have Bijan Robinson on rookie contracts and they have a decent defense behind them. It might behoove them to do that. Unless they can trade up for a draft pick. That's going to be the only differentiation there.
Well, the Bears hold the keys to that whole situation, so it's going to be interesting.
What do we get from Atlanta for that?
Oh, we'd have to get a lot.
A lot. And, I don't know what player you'd even want. Give me Kyle Pitts and 3 firsts. Here you go.
Kind of. In a way, yeah, kind of.
I'd take that.
Yeah. Who wouldn't? We'll get into NFL talk. In other news, Ohio State, if Harbaugh's leaving, and this is kind of leading into this point, will they become the next cream of the crop? Because I don't know if you've paid attention now, but Ryan Day looks like he's building an absolute powerhouse with multiple transfers, and Will Howard from Kansas, who's going to be their next quarterback. And now you have arguably one of the top freshman recruits in the country at quarterback or deciding to flip commitment to come to Ohio State from Bama. This is interesting. And then not only that, one of the
sorry, you can finish. I want to hear the whole
one
thing.
of the top safety recruits in all of last year's class is also transferring to Ohio State.
Good recruiting, transfer portals. I feel like are almost overvalued right now. Because we've seen it a couple times where it's like best recruiting class, most transfers, like they're going to have the most talent. And you just come out and you're a little flat. And that could happen. Now, granted, Ryan Day's a good coach, even though I hate him and he annoys the hell out of me. He's a good coach, so that could end up changing it a little bit. I'm not ready to give them powerhouse. I'm ready to see them have a good quarterback again because their quarterback play was horrible last year. And at the end of the day, you know how Michigan, Ohio State works. They got to beat Michigan before they're a powerhouse. And even if Harbaugh leaves, they still might not beat Michigan if Michigan's good next year. Like, they still might. Because you got to, like, Michigan's the national championship right now. You can't take that shit from them. Like, they're there.
You could argue if Ohio State wins that game with a quarterback who, by the way, transferred to fucking Syracuse.
Yeah.
Well,
right, because he knew writing was all over the wall on that one.
Sure, but if he wins that, if they win that game, they're the best team in the country. And it was a close game. I mean, it's not like it was,
yeah,
blowout by any means.
Do they win the national championship though? I don't think so.
If Harbaugh's out, and now with the kid, what's the quarterback's name again at Michigan?
JJ McCarthy.
McCarthy's going to the draft.
Yep.
And I don't know who in the hell's going to pick him.
I don't know.
I have
either.
He's going to be a day 2 pick for sure.
Yeah,
or day 3.
No doubt about it.
There's no doubt about it. He's more of a game manager than he is anything. But I would say this much, that simply, if Harbaugh's out, Ryan Day has his window to go. And I think that losing to them 2 years in a row now is one of those situations that I believe gets a fire lit under you to get it done. And that's why I think he's going after heavy NIL deals and getting these guys there in the transfer portal who are 5-4-star recruits.
Yeah.
Not only that, I think they have 3 or 4 seniors returning next year. Ohio State.
he did win his Super Bowl this year. Like
What's
the week 5 game against Notre Dame when he went apeshit on live TV.
Well, that's when Lou Holtz was out there saying that Ryan Day wasn't a very good head coach. And
well, can't beat Michigan, so what are you going to do? So some might say that he is a bad head coach.
But then again, when you did have Justin Fields and a team in 2020 that looked good, really good, that you went to a national championship with.
All roads lead back to Fields, baby.
Oh, the Fields of gold. We have many things to get into with the Fields of gold.
Shout out Sting.
So,
will you stay with me? Will you be my love?
Isn't it funny with Sting? Like, he's a verb.
Yeah.
Sting's name, he is a verb. He is not stung. He is not stinging.
He's actively stinging you. He's a sting.
He is just Sting.
Yeah. It's like the U2 guitarist, The Edge. You're like, of what? That's your name?
I guess, well, if you're a rock star, you can do many things. Now, okay,
Slash?
Squirrel on the music talk. Yeah, Slash. Right? I mean, yeah.
Wham? Whole band. Whole band, just wham.
Well, Wham was a whole band. Yeah, George Michael, legend. But
Wham.
Buckethead, great guitarist.
Yeah.
Legendary guitarist.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, yeah, there's a couple goofy names out there. But Sting, once again, there's not many artist names that are truly just a fucking verb. But, okay, the Police Sting or mid to late 90s Sting.
Police. I like mid to late 90s Sting. I think he has some cool little songs in there, but the Police had a lot of cool songs. Like I like the Police. I'll still listen to him this day.
What I don't understand about Sting is that you can only understand usually like the last 2 words he's saying.
Oh yeah. Where is he from?
Does that make sense? I don't know. Google where is Sting from. Sorry for the music podcast.
Okay, he's at least from the UK. Like if he was American and he sounded like that, I would have gotten so mad. That's yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly where he's from. Of course, usually they're from over the pond if they're in a Brit band. But I don't know what he is. But like Fields of Gold, the last 2 words are really the only thing you could understand, and the rest of it is just like zibu zabu zay.
Yeah.
Like
I sang it in high school choir. That's the only reason why I know the words of that song.
that's hard as fuck. That's hard as
Hey,
fuck.
I'm going to be honest, man. One thing more about the NCAA that we can move on. I would just like to announce that DePaul University has fired their coach, which seems to be like the 5th coach in 6 years because they started the season 3-15. Major city, nice campus, brand new facility, can't win ever.
You're such a homer. You're such a homer.
Brother, I went there 4 years. I want them to be good. I want to have a team that I went to, like the university I went to, be good so I can follow it. And what I'm left with is like a 15 to 20 ranked like women's college basketball game. Like, just get it together. You're in Chicago. Go find people in Chicago. They're good at basketball. Like, what are we doing? So that's all I wanted to say. I'm so sick of this guy.
Who was their claim to fame? The guy who played on the Nuggets, Chandler.
They had George Mikan back in the day, and then they had Quentin Richardson. They had Wilson Chandler, which is what you were thinking of.
Wilson Chandler was a dog.
And now they got Paul Reed and Max Strus. So like guys are from DePaul. It's just they can't get this. Like they won 3 games against Louisville, Chicago State, and South Dakota. Those are the only teams that they can beat. Go to the Big East and they're just getting pounded all the time. And it's like the thing is I have like updates, so I'll get them periodically. It'll be like end of the 3rd quarter, 72-31. And I'm like, how is this possible? Like what do we? It's
They're just not good.
What they should do is get relegated to D2 until they figure their shit out, but it's too much of like a classic team, you know? But also, back to music, the band Chicago is from DePaul University. They all met.
Well, I've seen that band a couple times live. Peter Cetera.
Yeah, that's a king.
The guy's name?
Yeah, he
Cetera.
went.
There you go. Yeah,
I went on a bit of a
voice.
squirrel moment, but with Chicago the other day, and then I started reading all this. They're winless in the Big East, by the way, 0-7 this year. What a shame.
I doubt they'll get relegated to D2, but
they
then
won't
again,
ever.
hey,
I wish they could.
sidebar is and this is totally obscure and odd, but is DePaul female softball still like awesome?
I don't know.
Because I remember
is DePaul's male softball team?
Because my cousin went to DePaul. No, that's like rec, but I remember they had like a nationally ranked Division I softball team, like in the early 2000s.
I gotta look it up. Their field is really cool. We used to do a lot of stuff on there when I was in school, so their field's cool. I don't know if they're 19-32 last year. Looks like.
Oh, so they're not too good. Okay,
nope.
Moving on.
Everything's bad. Golf, baby.
Yeah, Vince, talk about golf. Go ahead.
Let's talk about golf.
No idea.
No, the reason I want to bring this up, I mean, it's obviously not, major championship time right now. Obviously, the Waste Management's coming up in your neck of the woods very soon. So we'll touch on all that when that comes. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is because a man by the name of Nick Dunlap, a University of Alabama sophomore, he won the American Express Tour. Very cool. First time since 1991. Wow. A man by the name of Phil Mickelson, you may have heard of him, won as an amateur. Last time that happened. The reason I bring it up today, he beat, and I don't know if I'm going to say his name, Christian Bezuidenhout. It's very like South African looking. I'm assuming he's from South Africa. He beat him by 1 stroke in the 72-hole tournament, and the payout for that was $1.5 million. Because this man, Nick Dunlap, is a college player and an amateur, he can't collect the money, meaning the second place winner gets $1.5 million, and Nick Dunlap's like, I did it, and that's all he gets.
Why can't he collect the money?
Because amateur status, if you're in an amateur status and you're playing in a major, or not a major tournament, but like a major league, I don't even know what you call PGA tournament, you can't collect winnings. It's really dumb. I'm assuming it's an NCAA thing. I'm assuming that's the case.
I'm assuming it's, but why wouldn't they defer the money for him for when he graduates?
You can make the same argument about like, Alabama football or whatever. But the thing is that it's not like, since this is an individual sport, I'm kind of just like, why would it go to the second place guy? That's stupid.
Yeah, if I'm the second place guy, at least split it with the first place guy. Don't be a greedy fuck about it.
That's like literally having, like, I don't know, the Patriots winning a Super Bowl, and then it was just like, well, Tom Brady was too young, so we're gonna give Super Bowl rings to the fucking Steelers or something. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Or like the
That
Giants.
makes no sense.
I know.
Yeah, no, I think that's
why let him
really
play
stupid.
if he can't win the pot? Why let him play?
Right. If he can't play and win the money, that's bullshit. Considering all the NIL things right now, there's some Shedeur Sanders drives a fucking Rolls Royce truck.
Yeah.
And this fucking kid can't take his money.
And granted, this is a good career move, and he's probably going to get some NIL stuff now, and he's probably going to get some sponsorships. But regardless, you win an individual sport. It's just, like if Serena Williams was too young, so they give it to the second place person that she beat in the finals. It's just like, conceptually, it makes no fucking sense. It's not like it's a whole team. It's not like the university's getting the 1.5 mil. They're just like, good job, buddy. We're going to give it to the guy that you beat. That's so, I don't know. It's stupid. I just think it's stupid.
I think it's very dumb. I don't disagree. I think it's stupid. Well, I mean, hey, what are you going to do?
Start paying people.
Scenarios that I feel like you should at least give it to the parents or something that should go in a little fun for him when he graduates. Something. Maybe he's going to have a for sure shot to join the tour. Well,
I was talking to my brother. Well, I think like once you win one event in the calendar season, you're way higher up, essentially. So he will probably get a chance almost immediately. He might start playing in it now, even though he's still at school. My brother and I were like, if he's that good, he might just drop out. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But there's also,
I'd be like, done.
There's more people that come in and win one and never win one again than people that win more than one, So you could screw yourself.
You could, but then again, golf's a game of consistency. So if you're practicing it, constantly practicing and doing what you need to do and got off that, and you just won an amateur, I mean.
Strike while the iron's hot is another argument you can make. If you're good right now, then get out and then go back if you need to.
I mean, let's say wherever he's going to school.
Alabama.
U of A. Alabama. Okay, so you're going to school at Alabama. I mean, it just literally came out on a Fox Business Report that about 45% of major corporations are no longer requiring a college degree condition of employment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what's the value of the piece of paper if you're going to go play on the tour anyways?
I think it's the NCAA and their relationship with the major leagues of all sports. Because that's what it always is. It's like,
it's a fucking.
We need to make our money and not pay people for being like, this kid won the tournament.
We support. What's his name?
His name is Nick Dunlap. It's like winning a bet and then not getting paid out for it.
We support you, Nick Dunlap.
I support the hell out of him. Let's get into some NBA talk, Mike. Some cool things have happened in the NBA the last couple of days, huh?
Yeah, let's talk about something that's not so fucking cool.
Okay.
The Bulls were in my neck of the woods last night, and they played the Suns, at the Footprint Center in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And I was excited because I was like, I don't get a chance to watch many Bulls games. And I was like, oh, man, wow, they're up by 20. It was 76-56 going into the top of the fourth. And they lost the fucking game.
Yeah. That's a
Kevin
goofy
Durant,
ass
6
team.
seconds left. Just drops it in bucket from the elbow. I don't get this team. Jerry needs to sell everything.
We were having that conversation walking into the house that Jordan built last night. I mean, Kobe White almost gets a triple-double. DeMar DeRozan drops 21 on 40 minutes. The Bulls outscore Phoenix considerably in the first half. So you're talking 50, 67 and some change maybe to 41. 67-41. Something like that at halftime. Moving into the second half, the Phoenix Suns score 66 and the Bulls score 47. So it's like you go in there and you play your ass off for the first half, which is something they've been doing for a while. And they did that a lot last year, where they get up to a lead. Granted, the Suns have arguably a top three player in the league with Kevin Durant. He goes off and scores 43, which was nothing as far as yesterday was concerned. You just can't do it. And they're not a good team, and it's built incorrectly, and we're going to see that at the end of the year. And they're 21-24, and they're probably going to end the season somewhere within that same win percentage and be the 9th, 10th seed and do the play-in and lose again. So
Good.
it's hell. We live in
Good.
the monotonous middle in every sport.
I've said it for a long time. It's the purgatory of the NBA, and that's where we've been since 2009.
Yep. Well,
since D Rose got hurt.
I mean, we won the East in 2011.
I know.
It's more like 2014 is when it really started coming off the rails, and since then,
You're
last
right.
10 years.
You're right. I don't know. It's just this. You weren't going to get past the LeBron-led Heat back then.
Almost did. It got so close.
Almost
so
close. Carlos Boozer just wasn't it, and he had no business being matched up with Chris Bosh back then.
Well, that was the year too. The Bulls were in the mix for they were in the mix for LeBron until he made the decision. Then they were in the mix for Melo, and then Melo went to the Knicks.
We can never attract a major free agent in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, supposedly we were close on Melo, and then we didn't end up getting him. D Wade stayed with the Heat, and then what did you have left but Carlos Boozer, who his tenure on the Jazz was very good. And he was actually pretty good with the Bulls, but that wasn't a game changer. That wasn't like this is next level. But
I said it for years and years and years, and looking back, it would have been the right thing to do. You could have built the team around Jimmy Butler, and everything would have been a lot better.
Maybe, though. There were some growing pains, and I think sometimes
Jimmy was a homegrown guy.
I agree.
You drafted Jimmy. You could have kept him here. You could have grew him. You could have kept Tibbs doing what he did. Let him grow around that. I mean, Tibbs is taking Knicks teams to the fucking playoffs in the East.
I think change of scenery was probably the best thing to happen in Jimmy Butler's career.
But I believe if the franchise would have said, you're our person and we are going to commit everything to you in building this team around you, he would have been fully bought in.
Yeah. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but obviously I'm absolutely with you. Obviously, what we're at now is ridiculous. You essentially got rid of Jimmy Butler, and you got a guy that is older and very similar in play of him with DeMar DeRozan, and you're essentially paying him the same amount of money. So it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, you got Zach LaVine out of it, but Zach LaVine's a fucking prima donna. He takes nights off. He takes plays off.
Dude.
He doesn't play defense, and he's gone, and he got paid the max, and now he wants out.
No one wants him. No one wants to trade for him.
Because he's a bitch.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to say that.
He's a baby back soy boy bitch.
Yeah, he's annoying, and he gets paid a lot, and
he is Ben Simmons' potential level bitch.
No, he's much better than Ben Simmons. You can't put that on him.
Well, Ben Simmons was very good at one point. I mean, he had Colin Cowherd saying that he was the next LeBron James.
And we love Colin Cowherd on this program.
Colin Cowherd. He's not Josh Rosen. He's not Sam Darnold. By the way, he was speaking of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
That aged well.
Nothing like, At least Carson Wentz got to wear his hat forward. That was cool. Yeah, I mean, it's hell. We're in purgatory. We're always going to be in there. I say it all the time. I said it when we were walking in yesterday. Jerry Reinsdorf is going to outlive me. Jerry Reinsdorf's going to ruin my fandom for every team that I like. He's going to be 180, and he's going to be laughing at my dead body at my funeral, and it's going to be brutal. So this is what we have to live with. That's Chicago, baby!
Chicago Factory Sadness. All right. Go ahead. Talk about the really cool thing that happened.
Joel Embiid, 70 points last night. He threw 70 burger on him. A lot of people around the league obviously freaking out after the game against the Bulls. Kevin Durant reacts. He's like, 70? Holy shit, because no one does that. 70 points for Joel Embiid, 18 rebounds, 5 assists. Third player ever to have 70 and 15 in a game. Obviously, eclipsed that. First player since Kobe Bryant that scored 70, if I'm not mistaken, which was a hell of a long time ago there. Sixers still only beat him by 10. Victor Wembanyama has a nice game himself, but comparatively, 70 points is insane. Like, that's next level. Like, you have to. He shot the ball
82.
so many times. Kobe did it. I mean, I'm not comparing it. I'm just saying, like, that's the most points scored, I think, since Kobe, if I'm not
For
mistaken.
a big man, I mean, that's truly impressive.
Yeah, like you think like Shaq
70.
would maybe do that. Like maybe. I'm going to confirm to make sure that I'm not a big dumb idiot. Oh, no, dude. Dame had 71 last year. Donovan Mitchell had 71 last year. I'm an idiot.
But I'm talking for a big man, though.
Yeah, I know.
You can't.
Well, the last big
Come on,
man to score
cuz.
the last big man to score more than 70 was David Robinson, 1994 for the San Antonio Spurs.
Dang. So it's been done before.
And then Wilt just scored a ton over 70 over the time. So it's been done before. And also Wilt Chamberlain, are those stats real? Some people would like to say no. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that he scored 100 points. But regardless,
I mean,
insane
Vince,
game
if it's
for
in the
him.
stats book, what do you think? They were just like making it up or some shit?
In the 60s NBA, it was a little bit different. They didn't have a computer where people were triple, quadruple, checking them to make sure everything was right. They're kind of like, sure, he scored 100 today. This was the score. You see?
Oh, Curly.
Oh, Curly with the fastball. Yeah, so, I mean, insane game. And then outside of that, we had another insane game at the Minnesota Timberwolves and Mr. Karl Anthony Towns, our favorite voice in the NBA, if I do say so myself. I don't know if you'd agree.
It's very fab, but yeah, no, Karl Anthony Towns
it is
maybe
spicy.
top 5 voice in the.
He's got a zesty voice on that man for sure.
He's for how big he is, it just does not fit who he is. He's like,
yeah,
you think he have like some deep voice, and out here like, yeah, he's like,
he seems like a very nice person, which is not what you could say about a lot of people. But he seems like he's just a goofy guy.
well,
who can also come in and score 62 on the Charlotte Hornets. So.
Yeah. Do you see the Hornets coach? He was pissed.
Well, guess who
He
won the
was
game?
Who?
The Hornets.
I mean, still though, there was not much defense. And I mean, that's the problem with the modern day NBA. There's no defense.
It's a lot of scoring, and they're trying to actively make it more scoring because that's what people like to watch. But you just
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It's like defense is a part of the game too. What does this become?
Well, defense becomes very important in the playoffs, but you don't get defense until you get to the playoffs.
The rules have kind of gone out the window in the modern NBA. It's turned into more like backyard ball than it is like true basketball.
Yeah, body checking was fun. It was allowed.
Double dribbles and traveling is just like a norm, especially if your name is LeBron James.
Well, so they changed
away with murder.
They changed the drop back rule, so James Harden can't do all that shit. You really can't do fouls by leaning into people like Harden and Curry used to do. So at least they're taking care of that stuff, but it is like completely different. Like the pace of play is different. And I heard this argument today. It's like, would Larry Bird be good in the modern NBA? It's the answer to all those questions are always yeah. Yeah, he would be. People always say like, well, the talent's so much better now. It's like, so would Larry Bird. Like Larry Bird is a monster. He shot 1 3-pointer per game for like his whole career. And now he would be shooting a healthy 6 to 10 of them probably a game. Like, I don't know, man. It seems like they, resting and keeping your body good and all that shit that we talk about all the time where
that's why it's so difficult for me to pay attention to the NBA in the regular season because it's so just boring.
I like it for shit like this.
I get it. You like it for shit like this, but I mean, everybody knows I get into playoff basketball. I enjoy it. I think it's exciting. It's fun. It's fun to watch. I also believe that they play defense in the playoffs.
They do.
The top guys are playing hard.
Yeah, but you're not seeing like LaMelo Ball. You're not seeing like the young guys. You're not seeing rookies come up.
I don't give a shit.
I
see
do,
the best
Mike.
competition on the court.
I
want
like
to
the
see
NBA.
2 guys. I get it, but that's my issue. If they play defense, I would probably be far more invested. Just like how I'm about to become invested in the month of February in college basketball, so I can be in the queue here for the tournament because
you're
you're
a bandwagon sports fan if I've ever heard it.
Well, I'm a bandwagon tournament guy now. And I will
Okay.
fully admit that. I have zero problem.
Yeah, like you stop
just
watching
saying,
baseball until the playoffs. You don't watch football until the Super Bowl comes around. You watch one game a year.
No. I watch a lot of White Sox baseball,
I
unfortunately.
know, we talk
and it's
about it
very
every
difficult
week.
to watch. And I also watch a lot of Bears football,
Yes,
and
which
just
is
football
hell.
in general. Any form of football I'll take. The UFL is about to start. Pretty jacked for it.
That's
By the
so
way,
funny. I
we
forgot
get a
they merged.
whole new gambit of teams this year to pick from. So Vinny and I get to reset the board. Yeah, the UFL
Reset
will
the
be
wheel. We'll be able to
Tag Team
show the wheel on the YouTube now, so you can see the
The
wheel as it
Wheel
goes.
of Death will be on the
Yeah.
YouTube this year,
Wheel.
and Vince and I get our
Wheel.
team. I'm hoping for the Battlehawks this year. Just saying. All right. Well, in other news, the Bucks fired their head coach.
Yeah. Interesting. They've kind of been playing
mean-
a lot better recently. They don't. If you're talking about a team that doesn't play defense, there's one of them. But they're 30-13, man. They're freaking.
How do you? Something must have happened. Maybe
Something
he was like
had to
email
happen.
joking somebody's wife or something. He was trying
Something
to bang
had to
somebody's
happen.
wife.
I don't. There's not a lot of information on it. It came out about midday today. I don't know what they expect. I'm kind of unsure on why they would do that, just because they built the team and they got Dame, and Dame's coming in. They're starting to play a little bit better, and now this happens, and you're like, okay, is there somebody better? Because there was a guy that they had by the name of Mike Budenholzer that won him a goddamn championship, and they were quick to release him, and now they're under this. So I have to assume something's going on. If not, maybe they're just quick trigger. Maybe they're just like, hey, we have a window right now. Let's take care of business and not deal with bullshit.
It doesn't smell right. It doesn't smell right at all. Something must have happened. Like I said, either somebody was trying to do something with somebody's wife, or I don't know. It just doesn't. It smells
usually
like
that's why that would happen. But
yeah, to get rid of a coach that's starting to excel, it doesn't make no sense.
Irvin Magic Johnson says it was a big mistake. It's not his fault the Bucks traded their best on-ball defender, Drew Holiday. Yeah,
I mean, hey, you're hearing. I mean, you're looking at the guy who found a cure for AIDS.
Yeah, he's the one that did it himself. Supposedly Giannis lost faith, and they might be bringing in, drum roll please, Doc Rivers. Run it back, Turbo.
Seriously, they're going to bring in Doc?
Reportedly, Doc Rivers is a top Milwaukee target to replace
great.
Adrian Griffin, but the sides have yet to talk. So they reach out to him. I don't see why Doc wouldn't go there. That's a beautiful job to take on. Go and do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's probably the best job in the NBA right now. You get two of the best in the league.
Yeah, I mean, there is only one job available, but it's a pretty fucking good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see.
No, I don't
They're
disagree
still going
with
to the
that
playoffs. They're still going to be on the top of the East, and they're still going to be a really good team. I don't know. Maybe the Adrian Griffin experiment didn't work out the way it was supposed to. The last news from the NBA, and then we can get into our beautiful NFL talk. Terry Rozier for Kyle Lowry and a first-round pick, Heat Hornets. Kyle Lowry yet to be bought out by the Hornets. Don't know if they're going to keep him or not. I don't see why they would keep him. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Good move for Jimmy, I think. Kyle Lowry and Eric Spoelstra had something going on where they were in agreement. There was some smoke in there that I don't know all about it, but you could tell he got benched because the play wasn't that great. If you remember the beginning of the season, it was a dumpster fire. I remember saying they were, I think, second to last in the East or something like that in the first 20 games. They've kind of turned it around now. They are in sixth now. They're well over 500, which is nice. I think they have 5 games above 500, 5-5 in their last 10. They say it's time to make a change. Terry Rozier's kind of the man. He was very good on Boston, and then you kind of lose him in the mix a little bit on Charlotte. He had a couple cool highlight plays, but we haven't heard a lot about him in a while, I want to say.
He's having a really good year overall. I mean, he's top scoring on that team and assists. So next to LaMelo, that is. I mean, that for the Heat, I think this is a nice piece for Jimmy.
Yeah.
And not only that, Kyle Lowry will most likely get released. That'd be a nice signing for the Bulls. That'd be nice to have another piece in there. Just saying.
Yeah, you get Kyle Lowry and you end up being 9th instead of 10th. To be honest, but
Pretty
we need
much.
a point
it doesn't
guard,
move
man.
the needle though.
We could use a point guard for sure.
Just
but
saying.
I feel like he's gonna go to a team like, maybe back up for the Nuggets or goes to like the Clippers and then him and Russ do like a switch off thing. I don't know what they would do, but I think he's gonna go to competitor. I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely, that's usually
Who's
what
playing
happens
point
with
for the
these
Suns
guys.
right now?
I have no idea because I don't pay
I guess
attention.
probably I don't know, like great Devin Booker maybe because they got Bradley Beal too. I don't know.
mean, Booker's such a distributor, and Beal. I mean, but the problem is Booker wants the ball a lot too.
Booker wants to
and
score,
KD wants the
man.
ball a lot too. There's
Yeah.
only one ball, and it's
You're right.
difficult to do that. So, and Beal just didn't make it. Like, I don't know. The fact that he got rid of DeAndre Ayton for Beal just didn't make a ton
You
of
want to
sense.
know who
And
hasn't
DeAndre
been
Ayton-
playing really well in the Northwest though? That
Who?
man. DeAndre Ayton's has
DeAndre
not been
Ayton?
playing that well for the Trailblazers this year.
Yeah.
Granted, it's the Trailblazers.
He's
but
not physical for his size. He's not physical, and that's been a knock on him from day one.
Yeah, he played 22 minutes against the Lakers, and he went 6-4.
There you have it.
Ain't gonna do it.
And I mean, when Anthony Davis is pushing you around, that's how you know. Well, Vince, you know what rhymes with Rozier?
It doesn't rhyme with it, but I know where you're going.
Kinda does.
Sort
It
of.
sounds a little bit
Slant
like it.
rhyme. Slant rhyme.
Slant rhyme. Razor.
Yeah.
Rozier razor. You see what I'm doing here? Who does
Yeah.
Shredder shave with?
Mhm.
Razor. And if you're gonna shave your face, you should do it with our wonderful friends at Henson Shaving.
This part of today's episode is brought to you by none other than our friends at Henson Shaving. If you guys have been listening to the show for a while, you already know that we swear by Henson Shaving. We've been using them for months, and there really isn't a better product out there. The Henson razor puts an end to shaving irritation and cuts while also making your skin feel comfortable and smooth. This razor is made by using CNC machines to aerospace standards. That's right. Rocket ships, people. That means it's made to very tight tolerances, meaning that the combination of how securely it's held and how minimally the blade is exposed delivers a smooth and safe shave no other razor can offer. It's literally one blade. Be safe. Please be safe. They're very sharp. You twist on the top and you get to work. It's that easy. You remember the beard bet? You remember me shaving off the whole thing. If you need to watch somebody use it, go on my Instagram and check it out because it's really that easy. Cost ownership averages $88.20 every 2 years, which is essentially $177 less than normal cartridge razors. They're sustainable, it's precise, it's Henson Shaving. It's got a nice weight to it. It's made out of metal, none of this plastic garbage. So please use the promo code THETAXISQUAD, THETAXISQUAD at checkout, and you'll receive a 100-pack of blades free with the purchase of the razor. So you go on the site, you add the razor that you're looking for, and then you add a 100-pack of razors, you'll get those for free. For most users, this amount of blades will last you 2 to 5 years depending on how often you shave. So that promo code again is TheTaxiSquad at HensonShaving.com. Go check it out. Football, baby. Football's the name of the game right now. We have officially gotten down to the championship round. We have some coach hirings, some weird coach hirings, some that get us a little hate on the TikTok. Mike got a little bit of heat on the TikTok this week.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm getting heat from some fucking armchair quarterback. I like to say I'm not, but at the end of the day, I've been watching this team long enough to know what works and what doesn't work, and that doesn't fucking work. But continue.
Yeah, man. Shane Waldron is the new OC of the Chicago Bears. And obviously Eberflus is back. They're looking at defensive coordinators right now, so we have a lot to look forward to here in Chicago. But they know for a fact Shane Waldron calling plays for the Bears this year.
Why didn't you request an interview with fucking Eric Bieniemy?
Because,
Looking
dude,
for
we can get the cool guy from the Seahawks instead. It's the most Bears shit ever. There's no doubt about it.
You don't request an interview with Eric Bieniemy, Poles knows him from his time with the Chiefs. What are
Yeah.
Are you just gonna go like you think Nagy's probably gonna get rehired? Where's Bieniemy gonna go? You interview Greg Roman, you interviewed fucking Cliff Kingsbury,
Yeah.
and they flew
Yeah.
out to Cali to see Cliff Kingsbury. By the way, he didn't come to Chicago; they flew to Cali.
Yeah, we were talking
He's
about
like, "Give
that
me
yesterday.
every bottle of Camus imaginable."
I feel like they just wanted to ask him what Caleb Williams was like as a person, if I'm being honest.
It does seem like it was like more so like a recruiting mission. You went to the passing game coordinator and OC at USC last season, and then just basically were like, yeah, so is he great or does he suck? Or is he a bitch? Or like what is he?
That's what it feels like. Shane Waldron, for those who don't know, previous offense coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks under Pete Carroll. Shane Waldron likes to throw the ball a lot.
About 60% of the time.
The problem with that, and like Grant, their running backs had a great time. Like Kenneth Walker had a great year last year, and Charbonnet's really coming up. So that's great. That's great and all. My issue is, well, one, and this is more of a gripe, but if it works, then it works, is the screen passes. And the man loves screen passes. And if there's one thing that pissed me off more than anything this year is the consistent, all the time screen passes that they throw that I'm not ready for. Now, if they can take a quarterback, now, again, we'll have so much time in the future to be like, are we going to have Justin Fields or are we going to have Caleb Williams? But this is more of an issue because if they're going to keep Fields, they're going to let him like get him going, kind of like the Geno Smith thing. Is it actually going to work? And no one's going to really know that, if I'm being honest.
But what I don't understand is no other NFL franchise has made a hire yet. So what is your hurry? Did he blow you away that much? And a lot of people are like, either we love the hire or we don't. I think we would be critical of any Bears hire. If they would have hired Cliff, I would have probably been more so on the side of, well, that's air raid offense. He had success with Kyler Murray. Very similar archetype to a Kyler Murray is Justin Fields, who's just as mobile
Williams,
and has
who he just coached.
and Caleb, who he just coached, and a lot of people that would start the hype train for Caleb, most likely. It's interesting to say the least as to the thought process of what this was. He must have really blew them away, and we're going to get a lot of that staff from Seattle coming to Chicago now.
Yep. For better or for worse. And I don't know if it's better or for worse. It's very Bears move, man. It's just the most Bears thing to do in the world is to pick up this guy that wasn't on the front of mind of a lot of people, but you're like, okay, he was successful one time.
He was, and he's been successful. Geno, Russ had a great year under him. Geno had a better 2 years under him than most. And Drew Lock, he won a game with Drew Lock. So, there's something to be said. So I see it, and Shane Waldron was in discussions for actually head coaching talks this offseason. So to say that he swallowed the pride and became an OC, maybe there wasn't other offers for him. But
and there's
no
so
other
many
team,
coaches available right now. Like, I think he was like, all right, I don't think I'm going to get this opportunity this year.
Well, I see that. I just don't. Of course, when guys like Vrabel, Harbaugh, and Belichick, it's like a coaching carousel from heaven right now.
Exactly.
It's heaven sent. Truly, is some of the greatest coaches that have been in the league now for the past 10 years are available. So I don't know. I think we'll crown him if he wins the first, 8 of 10 or whatever that looks like.
Won't.
Next season, they probably won't. No, I don't know. Once again, I'll say it, and I always say it. If you're a Bears fan, Groundhog Day just repeats itself. This smells an awful lot like Mike Martz.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yes,
Doesn't this smell like the
does.
Mike Martz hire from like the mid 2000s with Jay?
It does. And it could.
And granted,
work, man.
Granted, you went to a divisional playoff game and won with that offense, and then after you lost, and then you traded Greg Olson, and then
Yeah,
and then
we
he
all
was
know
just
how that
supposed
ended
to
up going.
he was just supposed to throw the football to Johnny Knox at that point and Desmond Clark.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what I don't
the
know. It
Waldron
smells an
offense,
awful lot.
it's a lot of play action. I think we're going to get a lot more motion in our
It's
offense. It's going to be a lot bigger and better,
it's
but is it good?
He worked with Shanahan and McVay. He's in that
They
pocket, which
love
is
McVay,
where the
dude.
NFL
They're
who
loving
does.
McVay
But
right
the
now.
difference is McVay and Shanahan run the football, and they have complex running systems that they feed the passing game off of. This guy doesn't seem to be that person. He seems to be the exact opposite, where he wants to throw the ball 60% of the time and then run the ball the other 40, which I don't know how that's going to look.
Is it
Roshan
sustainable?
Johnson, his claim to fame. What's that?
Is it sustainable? Is what I'm saying. Is it too much, too fast?
Well, you need a true wide receiver too, and that's not Darnell Mooney. Let's face it. So with that, does this kind of lean to the fact a lot of people could say, okay, now it means you're drafting Caleb. I think you're sticking with Fields. They're keeping it very tight-lipped right now out of
I think
Hallis
they're
Hall.
taking
I think
Caleb.
I don't.
I think they are.
Think about it. Think about it. You have a guy who wants to pass the ball a lot, and he's in quote your QB whisperer. So that shows you want to bring in a guy who gave Geno Smith hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
And got Geno Smith to a playoff game. Well, what could he do with a younger talent who's open-minded, willing to learn, change some things around with his maybe mechanics, how he plays the game, his thought process? And then maybe the thought is to make it hyped up like you're going to draft Caleb, and then you trade back and draft Maserati Marv.
I think that's certainly possible. I also think you can make almost the same argument with Caleb Williams, except he's new in a new offense. He's a young guy, and he's under control for longer. We're going to have to pay Fields next year. That's the big thing. It's like after next year ends, we're going to have to pay him if he's good. And this is another thing. If you trade out of picking
I'll pay
Caleb,
him if he's good.
right, but if you skip
I'll
out
pay
on
him if
paying
he's good.
Caleb Williams and Caleb Williams ends up being really good, that is way worse than trading Fields and have him be good and have Caleb Williams be bad, but he's the rookie that we drafted. That's way worse.
I guess, but the problem is this, okay, if you get a haul, you'll have first-round draft picks in the next 2 to 3 drafts,
Right.
considering the talent he is.
But is the draft like
So-
this draft? Is what I'm like. Sometimes those drafts aren't as good as they should be.
Well, next season's QB class will not be anything close to this,
Mm-mm.
but the season after potentially could be. We simply don't know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Quinn Ewers could be a guy next year. He's going back to Texas. And if you look at the numbers of Quinn Ewers and you look at the number of Caleb Williams this past season, they're almost identical.
Yeah. Different body
So-
build for sure, but yeah.
Yeah, not the athleticism, but a great arm. Caleb's hyper smart, but he's a prima donna.
Yeah.
He always has been.
That's my
So
worry. That's my worry. And his
we
dad.
will
His dad's
see-
my worry.
the last thing you need is, like
LeVar
Spike's
Ball.
dad out there, right? Or LeVar Ball.
Yeah.
So, and if nobody got that was a Little Giants reference.
Mhm.
No big deal. But I am simply stating that Shane Waldron, safest hire you probably could have gone with. I would have preferred a younger person in this role, not as established, someone who wants to think outside of the proverbial box.
Right. But
That's where
it's-
that's
the
my
most
thought
Bears
process
thing
was.
ever. And to be honest, we'll have so much time to talk about this in the future.
Oh, yeah, I know.
This ain't
I
going
know.
anywhere. But what is going
But-
somewhere is the divisional round, Mike.
What a great weekend of football.
That was awesome.
What an awesome weekend of football.
I'm contemplating a couple things, but I think we should start with the big game. The Chiefs-Bills. Is that of interest?
Of course, it's of interest.
Because that's where the interest comes from, and all I'm hearing right now is, what's wrong with the Bills? Why can't they get there? What's going on? Is Josh Allen... Like, you're hearing all that shit, and I hate it.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
You want to know why I'm going to tell you why?
Why?
Because I said it last fucking playoffs, and I'll say it this fucking playoff. The NFL is clearly in the pocket of the fucking Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes, Taylor Swift, the Kelsey brothers are all really good for fucking business. Okay, Roger Goodell sitting there with his fucking shirt gun with a fucking flag in it, and just being like, he didn't even throw the ball. PI. Huh?
Yeah, there's a couple calls in there that were egregious.
No, the most egregious call of them all was that fucking phantom pass interference where the play ended and they're like, oh, wait, there's a flag on the field.
Yeah, that was
And
weird.
then they're like, for what? Oh, there was a PI. There was a PI. He didn't throw the football. How is there pass interference on a ball he didn't fucking throw?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's valid, and that's going to happen.
Perplexed.
The thing is nothing's ever happened in the NFL where it was like, pro Chiefs. Like, that's never happened. There's never been a missed call. There's never been anything like that.
Fucking last year, AFC Championship game, Bengals, fucking Chiefs, Orlando Brown hugging the defensive end for the fucking Bengals.
I didn't see shit.
Called.
I didn't see shit.
Nobody saw shit. Nobody saw a dick.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go back and do yourself a favor. Watch the last episode of the QB doc on Netflix, and then you'll see it and fucking zoomed in HD once again.
Yep.
Bullshit. This fucking team gets every call year after year after year. And granted, Stephon Diggs could have caught the 50-yard bomb. And granted, you couldn't have faked a punt with Damar Hamlin like fucking Make-A-Wish.
That was wild, too.
What was that?
That was wild, dude. That was really weird. Like, when that happened, it was just like, I think he's losing comeback player of the year a little bit. They're like, let's get him out there on a fake punt.
Yeah, and by the way, nobody fucking knows who the ball's going to on the fake punt. The guy who died on the field last season and came back to life like the fucking football phoenix over here.
That was obscene. It was obscene. But okay, besides that, I wasn't going to talk about reffing, but I'm happy that you did. I think more.
Go ahead.
Anything else? Got anything else? I think more than anything, it's more of a Mahomes is good thing than Allen is bad thing. For sure. And I think you can tell that because of a couple of reasons. I think also the propensity to do this when a team loses in the playoffs and is often losing to the same exact team, it says what's wrong with them, which granted you can say if you're looking at it and you're like, they're going to have to play this team consistently for the future. But I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with the Bills. I just think Mahomes is that fucking dude. One thing I will say about Josh Allen is that he has more attempts than anybody that's still in the play or that was still in the playoffs until the untimely demise. 69. He has a 68% completion percentage, which is about middle of the road with these quarterbacks right now. Higher than Brock Purdy's. Fun fact. He has 194 yards a game averaging, plus his running, which was huge. And he also has 4 touchdowns, which is more than anybody except for Baker Mayfield and Jordan Love. So, I mean, it's like he's doing his job. Passer rating doesn't fucking mean anything these days, or QBR or whatever you want to say. And he didn't really get hit that much because he was running away. So he's a really good player. That's a really good team. There's pieces that need to fix it, but it just feels like the Chiefs and the Patriots are the same kind of shit. It's like no matter what they do, the Bills are going to play like the Indianapolis Colts used to play.
He's not Tom Brady.
Okay.
He is not fucking Tom Brady.
Yeah, technically he's better than Tom Brady right now. Technically he's not better than him.
Tom Brady.
Yes, he is.
My ass.
Statistically, amount of Super Bowls at his age, technically he's better than Tom Brady right now. Yeah.
He thrown for 51 touchdowns in a season?
He's not at the age that Tom Brady was when he threw for 51 touchdowns in a season.
Just saying.
That's like saying like a 28-year-old NBA player is like crap because they haven't like won the championship yet. It's like, yeah, he's 28. What if he wins 5 of them, but from 29 to 34? Like he's younger. He's just younger. He's playing at the level of a Tom Brady. He wins the toss-up games, and he's probably maybe gonna win another Super Bowl if the Ravens can't stop him. Like something about him. At the time in the playoffs,
if the refs stop the Ravens, then then he'll definitely be in
I can't wait till
Bowl.
like 7 years down the line when we're talking about it's like Mahomes going for his 6th Super Bowl, and you'd be like, these fucking refs.
I'm not saying they're not a good team. I
don't think they're a good team, is what I'm saying. They're not a good team. There's a lot of glaring weaknesses, but it just fucking works out.
Okay. If we're going to break this game down, there's many mishaps with the football that the Bills made. And if you're going to win in the playoffs, okay, your quarterback can't be your leading rusher.
Right. And James Cook's had a
You need to control the clock. You need to control He had a great year, but this game in particular, Josh Allen led the team in rushing, where James Cook was 10 yards under what Allen had, and almost ruined the game entirely with his rushing capability by getting smacked. And thank God Dalton Kincaid comes in and jams up that ball, and then thank God one of your offensive linemen's in close proximity to fall on it, because they had the football gods on their side there for a minute. And you can't put this game solely on the shoulders of Tyler Bass, because I don't know.
You feel bad for the guy, dude. You have to.
I feel about as bad for him as I do Cody Parkey.
Sure.
But
but it's just like he's been kicking for them for so long, and it's just like, how do you miss that? That's what I'm saying. It's like the voodoo fucking gods of like being a good quarterback came down and just said, you're not making this because Patrick Mahomes needs to play well.
But if you're McDermott, like, what are your kickers got the yips? It's 4th and 6. I don't care what the statistics are telling you. I'm going for it. Fuck it.
Yeah?
No, I'm going for it. Because at that point, it's like, you know what? I got a quarterback who's been running his balls off all night.
True.
Get him out in motion. Get a quick pick play or something, or just let him run.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that probably would have worked. That's the thing. It's like you watch them and you're like, I could see certain opportunities.
When I saw the kicking unit going out there, I'm like, man, this doesn't smell good.
It felt bad. It felt really bad. When that was happening, I was like, this is gross. This isn't good.
As a kicker, he looked like he wanted none of that.
Which I honestly don't. That is his job, but I don't blame him.
I mean, you're the closest thing to a closer in baseball as a kicker, right?
For sure.
I mean, your entire career is based on when the lights are the brightest. So, granted, I understand people want to say you can't put it all on his shoulders, rightfully so. You can't. I wanted the Bills to win this game. It seemed like
so bad.
They had the pieces to make a run, but then again, they were really hurt on defense, and I think the loss of Tremaine Edmonds hurt them greatly.
Agreed.
I think
Tre'Davious White being out for a lot of the season didn't help them at all.
Yeah.
Matt Milano being out for a lot of the season didn't help them at all. It's like, I think what needs to happen is McDermott needs to one-up his 9/11 thing and do something even more egregious. I think he needs to come up with
a new...
Like, he needs to side with, like, Hitler now. It's essentially what he needs to do to get that team to keep going. Because, I don't know, man. It felt like a little team of destiny. It felt like they could have taken him down. I mean, the Chiefs aren't going to be as bad from the receiver position next year. They're going to be a better offense than they were this year. So, this is your window, man. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to make big changes. Stephon Diggs did not have his best year this year. Are they going to keep him around, or is he not going to be the full part of the offense? Like,
he's gone. He's gone.
They have a lot of decisions to make next year.
Stephon Diggs is gone because you have to pay Josh Allen, and I don't think he wants to be there anymore.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen, he plays a lot of hero ball. And there's some plays on that drive, in particular, the final drive of the game. Granted, Diggs had his hands, whatever happens, but
Yeah.
it'll be a defining moment because if Diggs catches that ball, they're on the 15. So I
And the
just didn't know
reality,
what the thought process was on that 3rd and 6 where you're trying to hit shots in the end zone when you know you have a kicker who isn't feeling the hottest right now. So you want to
yeah,
try and make it as easy for him as possible, and you're trying to take shots. Like, know the situation and stop trying to win the game right now.
incremental football. All that being said, Josh Allen consensus top 3 quarterback in the league regardless. So it's like
He is a Vic Fangio said it best. He is a taller, faster, stronger John Elway.
yeah, it's badass.
It's a great
but
comp.
then it's Groundhog's Day. The Bills are gone. The Chiefs move on.
It's like
What
this
else is
team
new?
is cursed. I mean, Jim Kelly
No,
made it to
the
2
team
Super
is-
Bowls in a row and lost them
Yeah.
both.
Dude, yeah, what did they go to, like 4 in a row or something like that, or 4 in a
It was
decade? Or
something insane, and he lost them all. It's like,
yeah, it was just
Um,
because the NFC was just better than them in every. Because it was the Cowboys and the 49ers. It was just teams from all over the place just beating them in the Super Bowl. It was a
Oh,
shame.
yeah.
I feel bad for Buffalo. The day that they win something will be like the maybe the scariest day ever. It might be
Very
the scariest
high
day
point.
ever. People are gonna
a
die.
very
that
high
day.
point.
Speaking
And
of
for
a
the
place
record,
go ahead.
we
sorry.
both picked the Bills. We both picked the
Yeah.
Bills.
That was the one game we were wrong on.
Yeah.
Speaking of a place that might burn down the entire country if they keep winning, the Lions beat the Bucks 31-23.
Oh,
What a goddamn game.
what a great game.
I love this Lions team. I really shouldn't because they're in our division, but Amon-Ra's the man.
Well, there's a couple ways you could look at that.
For sure. But, I mean, if the Bears are good next year and the Lions are good, like, I'm going to hate them.
Oh, yeah, of course. But
You
right
know?
now,
Yeah.
you have to kind of look at it in a sense of, I mean, it's in our division, and they're going with a potential shot to make the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had
So
two
you
in
gotta
our
look-
division actually play this round. Which is
Right.
pretty
I
sick.
mean, it is pretty sick, or not, considering we're in a tough division where 2
Right.
teams in the NFC North made it to the divisional round of the playoffs,
Talented.
who were in a rebuilding year supposedly in Green Bay. But I digress.
talking about
Let's stick to this game with the Lions. I mean, Baker, man, played his ass off. He threw
Mhm.
for 700 yards in 2 playoff games. I don't know if anybody knew that.
The one thing I will say about that, I mean, he was very
In
good.
total, not in each game. In total, I'm
Right.
just saying. 2 games averaging 350 yards of passing is something the Bears have never touched. But once again, what loses you games, Vince?
Interceptions, baby. And I had this
Turnovers,
stat today.
baby.
No quarterback, every quarterback moving on hasn't thrown an interception this playoff. Holding out of the ball, taking advantage of even if you're going to punt it, just taking advantage of your possessions and not turning it over on bad plays will be the demise of you. And that essentially was the demise of the Tampa Bay Bucks. I mean, they lost by 8. Some of like the 2-point conversion call was pretty fucking wild. And I was very jacked about that. Very Dan Campbell's like balls on ice kind of deal. He was just like, I'm going to get in there. I'm going to do it. Jared Goff is the man. Jared Goff takes care of the game, essentially. He's a game manager. They were getting hated on. They got hated on for the Hutchinson pick a little bit. They were really hated on it for the Jahmyr Gibbs pick for sure. They were hated on for the what's his name? Jack Campbell. Hated on that. All of those moves seem to be good. Jahmyr Gibbs is a monster. 9 carries, 74 yards, a touchdown. Every time he touched the ball, he was just absolute unit. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
It's more so what he did out of the backfield receiving, man.
Well, and that's
I mean,
what I'm
that
saying.
guy's
It's like
an
it's
absolute fucking
4 receptions.
unit.
Yeah. There was a couple plays where you're just like, how did he have such an open hole there? How did he get through? You got guys like Craig Reynolds having one catch that was like one of the most important catches of the entire game when it was coming down to the line. And now they have Zach Ertz. I don't know if you saw this.
I did see that.
Zach
Hey,
Ertz is a
fun prop
Lion.
bet for everybody. Zach Ertz for a touchdown. I
You're
think
probably
the odds
going to
on
get it at
that
like
Lion.
plus 10,000, but it's probably not going to happen. But we'll see.
I bet you it could happen. I mean,
Laporta's
Dan
playing, though.
Campbell's a former tight end,
Yeah, true.
and Zach Ertz has really never been this far in the playoffs.
Didn't he win a Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah. What the fuck am I talking about? Yeah, he did. Never mind.
He was on the Eagles that year.
He was on the Eagles. I forget how old Zach Ertz is.
Yeah, he's been in the league for a minute now. Dan Campbell's the man. His interviews are awesome.
Dog.
It's like watching this team, you're like, this is really cool. And this, after the Bills lose there, like, I gotta root for a Ravens-Lions Super Bowl now. Like, what else am I gonna do?
1,000%. 1,000%. I'm all in on the Lions and I'm all in on the Ravens. Once it gets to that point, I don't really care who wins or loses. Ultimately I'll roll with the Lions the rest of the year if they make it to the Super Bowl because that city deserves it. And Dan Campbell's an absolute dog. One of my favorite Dan Campbell quotes of all time is, "I don't care if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes, I'll still beat your ass."
Yeah, I remember that.
Iconic.
It doesn't make any fucking
We'll
sense.
play you
to
on
me.
turf. We'll play you. The line is, we'll play you on turf.
Yep.
We'll play you on grass. We'll play you in a abandoned field. I don't care if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I'll still beat your ass.
That's a
The
football
man's a
coach,
linguistic giant.
Yeah.
He's a true linguistic giant.
Yeah.
Talking
He's like
about
the
taking
modern day
kneecaps.
Socrates, if you
Kind
will.
of. Jackrates.
Yeah. You've had better.
Fuck off. Anyways.
All right. So moving on then. The Packers almost beat the 49ers. Very close. I was
Almost
very
counts in
worried.
horseshoes and hand grenades. Bears.
You promised
Purdy Bears.
you were worried.
I was a little worried.
I was very worried. I was sitting
I
there.
was concerned.
A couple of our childhood friends I was hanging out with. So us 3 were hanging out there. Shout out Z, shout out Sean. I love you guys. But we were sitting there watching the game, and it was coming down to it. Packers put up 15 in that third, and it was like, how the fuck is this happening? How in the world
I was like, this can't happen. This cannot happen.
Debo goes down. Purdy's not playing the best he's ever played the last couple weeks. He's a little worried. Essentially, talent won out. Obviously, George Kittle had a fucking great game, and he was there when they needed him. Brandon Ayuk, without Debo Samuel, seems to have a bit of a harder time, especially these, like, in the playoffs when it's on the line, proofs in the pudding. And for some reason, the Packers defense that hasn't been great all year suddenly was playing pretty damn well against an explosive offense. So I don't know if this is more of a testament to the Packers' skill or if it's an overestimation of the 49ers' skill. Like, do the Packers just play people closer, or are the 49ers actually worse than we think they are?
I think Shanahan got a little exposed by a former employee.
I feel like he did too. But he's not going to have that next round. Is that going to matter? The Lions are better than the Packers. Like, a lot, in my opinion.
They are. I don't disagree. I think the Lions, if Debo's back, they're going to have a little trouble.
Yeah.
They're going to have a little trouble with...
Which looks like he is going to come back, but don't know for sure.
I don't think there's a shot that he misses this game.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a shot he misses that game. Regardless, they're saying he barely escaped like a shoulder tear. So if that's a labrum or something, rotator cuff, but he barely missed one. Now, man, LaFleur, how can you sit here and say that this guy may be one of the top 5 head coaches in all of football?
I hate it.
And he's young, and he coached a star in Aaron Rodgers, and he loved him, and he fit the game around him. And then has now coached up a young kid from fucking Utah State, actually.
While missing offensive coordinators and losing quarterback coaches, he's still doing it.
He's the offensive play caller, and he's got a young quarterback now who looks like the second coming of a Rodgers or a Favre.
Yep, he's a Hall of Famer. Just to accept it now.
And they're doing it with not a ton of talent on offense. Aaron Jones and Watson and Dobbs, and
they're the youngest offense in the league. It's obscene.
This is why, okay, the Bears' excuses get incredibly muffled when you look across the pond to the other state and go, they have the youngest team in the NFL, and there is no excuses, and there's no bullshit, and he doesn't need another weapon, and he doesn't need another this, and he doesn't need another that. There's no finger pointing as to what an issue is because they come together as a team, and it's
Properly
a well-run
run
organization.
Yeah.
We're fucking Radio Shack, and they're over here being ABT. You know, I mean, it's glaring how different they are, and how one is horrible and a factory of sadness, and the other is just like the center of fucking excellence.
They're consistent all the time. No matter what happens, they're consistent.
And can we just, and not in a weird way, but I mean, LaFleur's a good-looking cat too. He's a young man. I mean, if he was single, he could just slay the town of Green Bay. Just walk into any bar, put his dick on the table.
I don't know if you'd want to, but
that's true. That's true. It's probably Slim Pickens in Green Bay. Let's face it.
I was going to say no offense to Green Bay residents, but actually all offense to you. I don't like you guys.
Yeah, fuck them. Fuck them at that point.
Packers are going to be good for a long time. And it's becoming very obvious very quickly. One thing to note, former Packers employee and Bears employee, I didn't say this earlier, and it's very funny, Luke Getsy getting an interview with the Raiders to be their head coach.
The fuck?
He was so
what
bad
in
last
the
year.
fuck? Seriously, what are you going to ask this fuck?
The Raiders
guy?
Are so funny,
So tell
dude.
Tell us why did you throw a screen on 3rd and 22 on the final game of the season against arguably your largest rival?
He's like, screen. I don't think I called one all year. Yes, you did.
Hey, I'm going to be sure to shout out that Tik Tok guy, whoever the fuck he was. Be like, simple-minded people don't understand the art of the screen. It's like, oh, thanks, Lombardi.
No, it was simple-minded people. Simple-minded people bring up the screen. I'm like, well, if he leads the league in screens, then it's true.
And
like
they
that's what we're
don't
doing.
work. And you watch the Tressman offense, and then you watch the Nagy offense, and then you watch the Getsy offense. You'd see a common theme,
right?
We run the screen a lot. Don't work.
Right.
Throw the ball down the football field. It's meant to do that. The forward pass was invented for a reason. And the West Coast offense has a place. Joe Montana could have been a Bear, by the way. Could have been a Bear. Pick away from being a Bear.
Everybody could have been a Bear. All right.
Culpepper could have been a Bear.
Coulda.
All right. Brady could have been a Bear. Let's go on this rant.
Tom Brady could have been on every single team. So
Brock Purdy could have been a Bear, but it wouldn't have worked. Vince, Ravens, Texans. This was a very close game in the first half.
I was like,
defensive battle.
Yeah.
In the first half, it was a very close game. But do we understand, as football fans, the Ravens' defense held an offense with the best touchdown-interception ratio in the NFL this season to not one offensive touchdown?
They were really good. And it wasn't like, oh, we're going to just force turnovers all over the place. It wasn't anything of that nature. It was just good football. This Ravens team has no excuse to lose to literally anybody for the rest of the playoffs. Like, Lamar Jackson, MVP. Lamar Jackson leads the team in rushing with 100 yards, which is pretty. There's a couple of them there where you're like, holy fuck, he's just taking off. Granted, yeah, I mean, they got Dalvin Cook now, so there's another one to put into the Harbaugh system. But Zay Flowers, obviously good. Isaiah Likely, good. Mark Andrews might be back next week. I don't know if you saw that. So they might have Likely and Mark Andrews. Supposedly, we'll see if that ends up happening. Even Nelson Aguilar, that man, getting into the play as well. I mean, it's like there is no weakness. They have the best kicker of all time. Their quarterback's the MVP, and their defense is like every single level of the defense. Like, you know, I like my safety boy. You know, I like my Kyle Hamilton. You know, Roquan Smith's a dog. Like, everywhere they are.
Good. Timeout. Good for Roquan.
Yeah, I agree.
He deserves to be here. He may be arguably the best middle linebacker in all of football.
Mm-hmm.
Modern day NFL, that may be truly.
I think he definitely
one of
is. I don't even think there's an argument.
I don't even think there's a question.
Yeah.
He had a lot of questions coming out that he was undersized and this and that. He proved everything on the Bears. Probably wasn't going to fit the 4-3 scheme, but now plays in this hybrid 3-4 that he's just an absolute fucking dog in.
Like, I'm happy that we got rid of him for sure. Like, we needed to. He needed to go to a team where he can, do shit
deserves
like
it.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
He deserves it, and he's thrown shade. And, I guess my only thing is I look at this team, which is so well coached and has been for over a decade now.
Yeah.
And say whatever you will about the Harbaughs, but those guys are just a family of coaching.
So good, man. Everybody's so
They're
good.
So
in that
good.
family.
They're so fucking good. And not only that, but it goes to show like what Justin Fields could be because he has a similar talent set as a Lamar Jackson, and it just tickles you.
It's hard to compare him to an MVP though. In the same,
no, I know it's difficult to compare him to an MVP, but it
similar.
just chaps my ass because you see the play styles and you're like, wow, that could happen. We could do that.
Mind you, they seem like they're resurrecting Jadeveon Clowney too. I don't know if you were watching him in that game, but just an absolute fucking menace on the outside, Jadeveon Clowney. Like, he hasn't played that well the last couple of years. He's been on a couple different teams, comes on this team, and he's like, oh, I can be the sixth most important guy on this defense, and everything seems to work great. So if you're Houston, you're happy because you have a rookie quarterback that got all the way to this point. They're playing their ass off. D'Amico Ryan seems to be the next guy on the line. Like, they got Nico Collins going. They got Tank Dell going. That defense was good. You're happy even though you lost. Baltimore should win the rest of these. They're the best team in the playoffs right now.
So I'll say this now. Pay attention to the officiating staff next weekend or this upcoming weekend for this game. They don't do well for the home team. And that's not just like a Ravens and Chiefs thing. The home team, which is the Ravens, is usually at a disadvantage when this officiating staff is on the field for whatever reason.
That makes sense. The second to last game of the season. That makes sense to.
Of course, Patrick Mahomes deserves it. He deserves it. I do believe.
It's the NFL script, dude. They wrote the script.
Fuck the script. The script doesn't exist. I do believe, how many things you see on the internet of like, oh, well, it's the red and the blue, and if you mix them, then it's purple. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Nobody knows. Those are just the colors some random artist decided to choose.
Logo conspiracy, though. We covered it on the pod. If it's true.
Fuck the conspiracy.
If it's true, that's fucking
It's not true. It's not going to be true. Because if the Lions and the Ravens make it, then it's a lot of blue. Right?
Yeah. So that's why it's going to be Ravens 49ers.
Potentially.
We'll see.
Maybe.
I really hope the Ravens win. I would love to see Lamar just prove every naysayer wrong and just be like, fuck you, I did it. I got MVP this year and I'm the Super Bowl champ. I'm a quarterback, not a running back. You're all idiots, and Colin Cowherd can go vanish somewhere.
Let the naysayers know.
Agreed.
I agree.
Let
a naysayer know.
Classic. Chris Fowler
and this
Pat
game.
McAfee.
Yeah. Yeah. Let a naysayer know? Is that what we're going to believe?
I don't think that's what he was trying to say.
But I mean, hey, this team, man, they look to be so sound, and they look like they got a unit together. You got Harbaugh. You got both Harbaughs in the locker room after the game, bringing the team up. You got the dad in there as well, saying, who's got it better than us?
Nobody.
Got to love it.
Can you imagine, dude, you get brothers that win the national championship and the Super Bowl right after each other? That'd be awesome.
That'd be pretty fucking cool, wouldn't it?
That'd be really sick.
It'd be sick. I would love to see it. I do believe that's going to be the ultimate thing. I do think Harbaugh and this team, they're going. He hasn't been to a Super Bowl in over a decade, so I think it's time.
Yeah, what was that, Flacco 2013?
That was Flacco 2013. That was against the 49ers as well.
Yeah.
For the record, it could be a repeat. I don't believe things repeat themselves twice, though. So that's why I have a thought process.
Who's better, Purdy or Kaepernick?
at that time,
Kaepernick.
was far more physically gifted.
Yeah, what a dog.
Purdy is a great game manager. Purdy. See, the interesting thing about Purdy makes some throws where you're like, damn.
Yeah.
And then he makes some other throws and decisions where you're like,
I understand why he was drafted last.
It's the Packers, because the Packers almost had a pick six in that game that could have iced the second half. But
I can't believe he hasn't thrown a pick yet this playoffs. I think he's just gotten lucky. But
don't you think he's due?
I will tell you, if there's one time that he's going to throw one, seems like the Lions are kind of ball hawks. And if they end up getting to the Super Bowl, there's definitely ball hawks on the Ravens. So take care of that ball, Brock.
So to revisit the Bucs and Lions game, I want to talk about the timeout at the end of the game that wasn't called.
Yeah.
And when they asked Todd Bowles about it, he was like, well, okay, if they kick that field goal, chances are they might make it, and then we have 15 seconds left on the clock, and we're not going to score. But it's like, I understand the realistic thought process there, but you got to try.
Got to give yourself a shot.
You got to give yourself a shot. Give yourself a chance.
Right.
I just think that was a total weak move. And people are like, see, the NFL is scripted. I'm like, I don't believe that.
I don't love him as a head coach, man. And I know they played really well. And I'm always like, everybody needs two chances.
As a Bears fan, Vince, I think it's very difficult for us to be critical of fucking head coaches.
I'm critical of ours every single day.
Every day, because the Flus is cringy as fuck. But
he's not loose either. He's tied up right now, the Flus.
He is tied up. And I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I believe that a guy who gets his team to a divisional playoff game and almost has an opportunity to win with Baker Mayfield is a pretty good coach.
Yeah, good enough this year. I'll take what they did.
Right?
Okay. We have two games this weekend. One ring to rule
or another,
cuz one championship for the NFC, one for the AFC, and we're going to pick them right now. So starting off with the NFC, Lions 49ers, official pick, Mike.
I don't care if you have one ass cheek and three toes. They will beat your ass. Give me the Lions.
The
Lions! I'm rolling
with
it. Let's go, Detroit.
I'm taking the fucking Lions too, dude. I want them to win so bad. Do I think they're going to win? I don't know, but I want them to win so
Some
bad.
people are probably like, God, these guys are fucking idiots. But listen, we believe it.
We just want to see it happen, man. All right.
I agree.
Home team disadvantage with the refs. Patrick Mahomes on the road. Lamar MVP. Chiefs Ravens. Who's winning it?
Give me the Ravens.
Yeah. We do it again. We agree on our picks again.
This
hasn't
on
happened.
These picks.
We usually are always like opposite sides. On the late
I'm
games.
Sick. Chances are the Chiefs have a very good shot. They always do. I just believe that these games are going to be very close. And we have.
Close.
It's going to be a very close game. I look at the schedule. I'm like, oh, my God, this could be very close. I look at one team. You have one team that's very good. You have another team that's very good. I look at both matchups. I go, wow, one can run, one can pass. We'll see.
It's going to be very close. I like Mahomes. I like Jackson.
I look at the Mahomes. I said, wow. I look at it. I go, where'd his brother go? Now he gets replaced by some girl by the name of Taylor. I have no idea who she is.
You're getting really good at that. You're getting really good at that.
I guess she sings some song about John. I don't know who John is. I hear he plays the guitar. I hear he plays it very good.
He's a very good guitar player. Very good. Yeah, you're getting real elite with that. All right, there's our picks. Lions, Ravens, Super Bowl. Taxi Squad, Super Bowl. I hope that's the case. We will see what happens. Second to last week,
I'm
Mike.
Sad.
Second to last week.
I'm sad.
Me too.
Sad. Because now you get to a point where it's just like we're just going to be talking about what could happen next season, and football always usually takes on a new era in the pod, and
Yeah.
we're going to start talking more now about the UFL. So get ready for the Wheel of Death.
And even more NBA, baby. Get ready for
and
that.
Mike's going to have to become an NBA guy.
Yeah.
As always, people, we are with you every week. I hope there's no major bombshells on Wednesday.
Yeah, usually
it's always one thing that happens. Watch, Belichick gets hired tomorrow.
Yep.
It's always a pleasure bringing the content to you, people. We are going to be scaling this shortly. New logos, new ways, new methods of the pod. If you didn't know, this episode will be dropped on Thursday, and we bring it to you every Thursday. Also, we are on every major platform that you would get your content. Spotify, Apple Music, Audio, Audacity, whatever it is.
Video,
we're on it.
YouTubes. We're all over the place, baby.
Hit the bell, and we will also respond in the comment section if you want to talk some shit. I'm always down to do that.
Yeah.
And this is the year of the siblings, so please share this to your brother, share it to your sister, share it to your brother from another mother, your
share
sister
it to the
from another
Harbaugh
mother.
brothers. It's the year of the
Share it
siblings,
to-
baby.
It is the year of the siblings, and as always, we'll see you next week.
Peace.